All right, guys. 2019's Midsommar is directed by Ari Aster, and it's a psychological horror film that flips the genre on its head by placing terror in a broad daylight instead of darkness. The story follows Dani, a grieving young woman who travels with her emotionally distant boyfriend, Christian, which is the world's, biggest D-bag of a boyfriend, in my opinion. But that's neither here nor there. She goes with Christian and his friends to a remote Swedish commune for a midsummer festival that only occurs once every 90 years. Now, what begins as a culturally immersive trip slowly transforms into something deeply unsettling, blurring the line between tradition, manipulation, and ritualistic horror. The film explores grief, toxic relationships, emotional neglect, and the disturbing comfort of belonging, even when it becomes at a horrifying cost. Cade, go over that cast for us, buddy.
Yeah, so I did enjoy the cast of this movie. I feel like everyone felt like they were pretty convincing. The line delivery was there. So we'll start with our main girl here, Dani. She's played by Florence Pugh. And I definitely like her. She's in several movies that I like. She's recently in Thunderbolts, playing Yelena. So she's in some Marvel films. So I gotta give her a shout out. Give her a shout out there. And then the terrible boyfriend, Christian, he's played by Jack Rayner, which was funny because, the beginning of the movie is so dark. I didn't realize this guy was a super ginger until they get over there. I thought that was really funny. And then we have Josh. He's one of the friends here who's also, I think he's working on his thesis, very similar to Christian, and they get into some mischief later on in the movie. And then we have Mark, played by Will Poulter from We're the Millers. He's also in the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and his character in the movie was kind of the comedic relief. He does some really stupid stuff we'll talk about later on. It involves peeing. But lastly here, we actually have the foreign friend here. I believe his name is Pell, and he is played by Wilhelm Blomgren. So that's kind of the main cast for this movie.
All right. Sweet. Now, Brent, how did this thing do at the box office, buddy?
All right. So this movie had a $9 million budget, and at the box office, it made $48.5 million worldwide. So it did really well. It was one of A24's first big hit movies, it and Hereditary, both made by the same director. So kind of kickstarted A24. So Audrey?
So I've got the Rotten Tomatoes score. So it actually scored pretty high, which is pretty rare for horror movies. It received an 83% score, making it certified fresh on the tomato meter, and then a 63% on the popcorn meter. So the critics basically said it was very ambitious, visually striking, and deeply disturbing. But the audience, their view was definitely split down the middle. The people that loved it really love it. But the people that don't, they're saying it's a slow burn. It's not much happens. It's confusing. It's weird. And they just don't like it.
Well, I think deeply disturbing is a good way to describe this movie, because there's deeply disturbing scenes on multiple levels. And we'll get into that as we get into the movie. But I think deeply disturbing is a good way to start out with describing this movie. But the film opens, with tragedy, as Dani, our main, actor in this movie, she experiences a devastating personal loss involving her family, leaving her emotionally shattered. Now, despite this, she joins Christian, her number one boyfriend that everybody loves, and his friends on a trip to Sweden, where they're welcomed into a Haga commune. Everything feels peaceful, almost too perfect. Good Lord, learn how to talk. Lush greenery, smiling faces, and a tight-knit community living in harmony. But subtle unease creeps in through strange customs and eerie behaviors, which is, mostly like how cults act, especially during the hallucinogenic ritual that distorts reality. First off, this movie starts out a lot like Scream, which we done a few weeks ago. The first, the opening of this movie is just, disturbing, just like Audrey said there at the first. She gets emails or whatever it was from her sisters saying that, I'm taking mom and dad with me and all this stuff. And then how her sister took out her mom and dad, and you could hear the grief in her, screams and stuff like that. That was just this disturbing opening. So let's start with that, man. What are you guys' takes on that opening sequence there?
Yeah, I think that it was a super disturbing opening myself. I mean, it opens up where like she just comes unhinged from the very get go. Like you can already tell that she's got some issues with her boyfriend Christian. Um, and that's told through whenever he's sitting at the bar with his buddies and he's basically complaining that she's always calling him and his friends is telling him that he's like she leans on him too much and he's her personal, psychiatrist and all this stuff. And then, she actually goes through this death where her sister kills herself, takes the parents out. And she loses it basically. So she's already way out there but before the movie even starts. And so then it just progressively gets worse for her as the movie progresses because her relationship with Christian keeps going further down the tube. After she actually gets to the commune and whatnot, they do the mushrooms and stuff. She's spaced out. Now she's starting to see her sister. And this is something that continues to happen throughout the movie. So from the very beginning, as a viewer, and I've only seen this the one time, as a viewer, I was already caught off guard and I was thrown off balance. And with as weird as what this movie is, I kind of liked that. So, Cade, you were going to say something. I didn't mean to talk over you.
Yeah, I was going to talk about like literally the first frame of the movie. And one of the things that this movie does so well with it being super artistic is some foreshadowing. So the mural that you see at the beginning tells the tale of the film. If you go back and you watch the movie and you look at it, you can piece together a few details in it that shows you, hey, like somebody's going to get this rune, this love rune, love potion, somebody's going to get, hypnotized with it. And then you actually see someone in a bear suit being sacrificed. There's a couple other details in there. And so I think like how Audrey was talking about the movie had a lower audience score. I can understand that, but you just have to slow down and look at this movie and think, okay, this is not going to be an action-packed slasher. When you pay attention to the background and you notice, like especially when when they're on drugs in the film, and you can look in the background and see things moving around, like it's an experience.
Yeah, that was
so
tripping me out while I was watching. I was like,
it's an
is that really
experience
happening?
watching it. It's not an up in your face slasher, and I'm just curious what Bryson and Brent have to say about it. They're the professors for this one, I would say.
He's the professor on that. I would never take his title.
Brent, I think that me and you could both be part of the same university. You know what I'm saying? Just two different classrooms.
I'll take
Exactly.
That's cool with me. I really like the contrast in this movie. I think the contrast itself tells its own story. The beginning of this movie is set at nighttime, and her grief, all the scenes involving her grief in the beginning of this movie, all the lighting is turned down. And then when they get to Sweden, everything is almost too bright, like it's saturated. And I think that has such a cool way of telling you that she's not where she needs to be in the beginning of this movie. It's super dark. She's dealing with too much. She thinks she has support, but she doesn't. I mean, Christian's not a good support system.
Yeah, that dude's a dick, I'll say that.
He
Yeah,
is.
he
100% he is. And then she gets to Sweden, and the entire vibe of the movie shifts. And I think that they did that in a really cool way. So yeah, the intro to the movie to where the movie actually starts, I think is a really cool transition.
I also liked how dark the movie was at the beginning, and then the pops of yellow kind of showing you, the death and new starts and everything. The way they did that was very interesting.
And there's one other thing that I want to bring to the table here from what I saw. Where this is a very unique movie. I think that it was a pretty smart movie. It's horror told in a different way, and I like that you talked about the contrast, Bryson, because it does have a lot of contrast to it. And we'll give some examples later on. But, okay, and here's my but. Everybody talks about the tropes of people not having common sense in horror movies. It's like, okay, the girl ran upstairs instead of running out the front door. Don't go in the house. If you see the proverbial cat, okay, the killer's just around the corner, and you're the one that's going to die, and the cat's going to live. Okay, it's common sense thing. And even because I didn't know anything about this movie, I didn't know anything about the movie. Okay, and they're sitting there in dude's apartment whenever Dani comes over, and dude, the boyfriend Christian, he's like, my girlfriend's on the way over, she's, be nice and all this other crap, right? And then they start talking about this trip to Sweden, and the dude is sitting there talking about going to see his family. My common sense kicked in, and I went, that dude's in a cult.
Yeah.
And I'll be danged if I wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? So there's still the common sense factor that people didn't pay attention to. Now, it was told in a little bit different way, but I'm sitting there and I'm going, dude's in a cult. He's about to kill everybody. And because I know horror movies, I'm going, and Florence Pugh is the biggest name right here. So she's going to be the one that lives. She'll be the final girl in the sense of how this final girl played out. So the common sense factor was still there. So
the only thing I'll say about this, I
my
don't know
piece.
if the characters would know that though. Like they wouldn't know that he was going to go and be in a cult.
You're not going to meet somebody, that you go to school with who's foreign and assume that they're, part of a cult.
Well, okay. So then they get to Sweden, and then all of these people are wearing robes, and
now,
they've got
if
these
I
flowers.
got there and I saw the people,
Yeah.
I might say, okay, I don't know your culture. I don't know where you're from, but where I'm from, we don't do this. So,
And I'm going to leave. I'm going to go ahead and
That's
head
right.
out the door.
Do
I
you
think they only
leave?
wear all white at like Diddy parties. So
I'm not even doing mushrooms with you
Whoa.
because you're in a cold at this point. When
Look,
I
when I
roll
pull
up-
up somewhere and they offer me
you and your
mushrooms as soon as I get out the car, I'm going to go on back to the house because
Yeah,
that's not a
man.
normal thing.
Well, as soon as they're in the car and they're in the city and they're like, okay, so where's your family? Oh, just keep driving 4 hours. No, stop right now. I'm not going any further with you. 4 hours out in the middle of freaking nowhere.
hey,
Okay, it's
Brett
not
has his
happening,
hand
man.
raised.
Brent, go ahead.
Okay, I have to answer everything that he just said. So, but first, I want to backtrack a little bit to the scream with the suicide. First of all, super disturbing. I love the use of this. Like it's just it makes you. It's just the way that she screams sounds very real, and it sounds like she's in such pain, and
Like
it's
a
very
guttural
disturbing.
scream.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Ari Aster, I'm not going to give any spoilers, whatever, because I know we're going to do Hereditary at some point. But in Hereditary, he also uses a very similar guttural, just completely devastating scream. So he must, really like that because it gets to the core of us as humans. Like, oh, you feel super bad for this person. Like they're going through one of the worst moments of their life. So that's number one. I thought that was really good. To answer what Cade was saying, yes, I do love at the very beginning. It pretty much spoils the movie, but unless you know what you're looking for, you have no idea what you're looking at. So I love that. And then, yes, about the cult aspect. Remember, one of the friends already kind of knew what he was getting into because he was writing a thesis about.
And he was writing a
communities-
thesis on it. Yeah.
about communities in Sweden. So he already kind of knew that it was going to be a little culty. So, you have to go from that perspective. He probably told the friends a little bit about what to expect. Like that friend already knew that the old people were going to commit suicide on the mountain.
He knew.
Yes,
Yeah.
because he
Oh,
asked
I think this
them.
dude.
Man.
Can I
Because
say
he-
something real quick, Brent? I don't mean to
he
cut you
even
off.
states that he knows what that is in the moment that they tell him, and what starts with an L. Like, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah,
the
whatever-
sacrifice starts with an L.
Whatever the ceremony is, and he's like, okay, and
He was
Christian's
like,
like,
you know what
he
that
said-
is?
yeah,
He was
Christian's
like,
like, you know
yeah,
what
I
it
know
is. He's
what
like,
that is.
he just kind of smiles at
Yeah,
him.
he
and
smiles
He was
and
like,
sits
don't
there
leave
quiet,
me in
yeah.
suspense,
And during the feast, before they go to the cliff, Josh even looks, I think, at Pele and says, "Is that the couple?" So he knows what's coming up.
Yeah. Is
Yeah,
Pele
that
the guy
guy-
that took him
That
there?
guy's a
I know you're
DB
gonna
right
say
there.
something, but just to
Get your
finish
hands
my
into that.
thought really quick, So he would have already told his friends, hey, this is a little bit about what to expect. So I don't think you can use the same logic that you're using for a slasher necessarily, because they don't know that they're going to be killed, but they know that this is kind of a culty vibe. They already know that people's going to be, I would assume anyway, they would know that they're going to look like a cult, and they already know about the festival. So a lot of
one
this
guy
stuff
knew, the
already,
rest of them didn't.
but
That's right.
I would
Well-
assume that they would have told the friends, is what I'm saying. That they would do
Pele also said that there's a lot of pageantry with this ceremony. It's very theatrical. It's very pageantry. So if I'm told this, if I'm not from that country and I meet somebody in college and we become buddies and he's like, hey, you know, there's this big festival. It only happens so many years. I'd love for you to be a part of it. You know, we all study different types of cultures in anthropology. Like, I think it'd be awesome for you to come and view this really unique ceremony and experience amongst where I grew up. I wouldn't think anything of it. I'd be like, oh, like, that's really cool. Like, this is going to be a really good opportunity for me to learn more about a culture that I don't know anything about and be part of something that's kind of happens once in a lifetime. And you're told that that there is a lot of pageantry, that it is, you know, very symbolic. And then you get there and people are dressed up. I'm a scout. I'm an Eagle Scout, and growing up in scouts and working at summer camps and being a part of everything, you also have the Order of the Arrow. And we would put on different shows, which were very pageantry, where we would dress in real Native American regalia and do real dances and stuff like that as a show. So if I were to go to a group of people I know nothing about and see the type of dress that they're wearing and their customs and their actions, I really wouldn't think anything of it because it's something I'm not a part of. I'm here to learn about it or to experience it as somebody who is, I guess, an outsider or someone who's visiting. So I think your guard would be so lowered because you don't have any kind of anticipation on what you're about to see or experience, that I don't think that there'd be a lot of flags that pop up other than I'm in a place that I'm not used to and I'm a guest here and I'm going to experience customs I've never seen. But I don't think that there would ever be a point where I'm like, I'm at a cult commune and I'm probably going to be murdered. You know, I don't think
Well-
that would come up in my thought process.
When they first got there, I think it was Mark said, oh, you didn't tell me we're stopping at Waco first.
Right. I
Yeah.
caught that too.
Well,
So
listen,
he
is
was
true.
already picking up cult vibes.
Yeah.
I got a theory. This Pele guy, because you know he tells them about that between this age and this age they do this, and you know there was like 4 different ages, you know, and then he gets to 72 and he goes, well, what happens when they're 72? And he like does the, you know,
Yeah, he
yeah,
kind of
stuff like that.
gave it
But
away there.
in the age group that they're in, that's when they're supposed to go on their like sabbatical thing when they go out into the world. I think Pele's job was to bring these people back to that
Oh
festival.
yeah, 100%.
And
I think that's
and
what
that
he was
is
doing.
I
did.
told you that
Yeah.
earlier.
And that is
Mhm.
exactly, it's when we were watching this last night, I said this is reminding me a whole lot of the Wicker Man. If you've ever
Yeah,
seen the
yeah.
Wicker
It's a
Man.
sacrificial, whether you want to think about it sacrificial or not, it is a sacrificial movie. Like,
Yeah.
you're bringing these people that know nothing about anything.
Well,
And
even when Josh was talking to, I can't remember the old guy's, whatever his name was, he kind of very rudely was like, so what, are you guys incestual? Like, is there any incest? And he goes on to say, no, sometimes we have to bring outsiders and approve them to mate and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting cult vibes at that point, man.
But I think, didn't he lie about that? Because that was how they ended up getting the quote quote seer person.
So
Oracle.
that seems to be planned. I
Yeah,
don't.
It was planned.
It seems like they try to avoid incest issues, um, for their normal repopulation. But when it comes to it's time to get a new oracle, I think that the generation before, like whatever oracle's alive, during that generation, they are already keeping that oracle ingestion line open and active. So by the time that oracle dies, maybe 1 or 2 generations later, there'll be another one. But normal repopulation, they try to avoid it, and I think that they do invite people over to experience their way of life and have them help them repopulate the
Right.
brain.
So, what I like about this movie is that there's a ton of foreshadowing. And so, one thing I wanted to point out before we get too far ahead is the first time that they meet kind of the head of the cult. He's the older guy, and he comes up and he goes around the group of friends. He says, "Welcome, welcome, welcome, welcome." And once he gets to Danny, like I missed it, but whenever I watched the video, it made sense. When he gets to Danny, he says, "Welcome home," and it's just very
Yeah.
quick. So from the very beginning, they know she's a part. Like they already
She's the
kind of
final
know
girl.
she's the chosen one, kind of. And so, and the friend Pell, he knew that as well. That's why he keeps drawing pictures of her, and we'll get to it. But on her birthday, obviously, the boyfriend that no one likes, he forgot that it was her.
Because he's a DB, man.
Yeah.
He sucks,
So
dude.
Pell didn't forget, and he drew her a picture, and in that picture, she's the spring, or is it the spring queen?
The May
Or-
Queen.
May
Queen.
Queen. Yeah, so in that picture, she's the May Queen. So anyway, that is already foreshadowed from the very beginning that they make it to the cult.
Yeah.
Well,
She's
well,
gonna
not
play
only
very
that,
carefully.
And I already knew as soon as they did that mural, that the camera went by that mural, I already knew I ain't gonna be eating no pot pie either. That's
well,
not
not
happening.
only that, when the police or whoever it is goes in the parents' room at the first, when they discover their bodies, over on the mother's nightstand is a picture of her when she was a little girl, and she's got a flower thing around her head,
Oh,
you know,
I didn't
kind of
notice
like she
that.
had on there at the end. So that was a
Okay.
lot of foreshadowing there. But you
There's
know,
tons of foreshadowing in this movie.
yeah, this
Oh,
movie
yeah.
reminds me a lot of Suspiria, the way it was shot and stuff like that. And another cool thing, and I know you guys have already touched on it, but there's only like, I think 2 scenes in the entire movie that are shot at night. Everything else is in the daylight, and you don't see
Right.
that a lot,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah, because you're in the midnight sun hours. Everything in Sweden at that point, from the spring to the summer to the end of fall, is 100% daylight.
I didn't know that about
And that
Sweden.
goes
I
back
thought that
to-
was up in Alaska and stuff.
I didn't know that either. I
Well,
thought
I mean,
that was a
Sweden
cool
is
aspect.
very far north as well, but I
Yeah.
think Sweden is a little bit slightly off. I lived in Alaska for 2 years in the summer, from like springtime until the fall, and we were 24-hour daylight. But I think in certain parts of like northern countries or whatever, theirs is a little bit less. So where you have 24-hour daylight for 6 months, there it's like 5 months 24-hour daylight.
That would mess with me.
Yeah, it wouldn't
Yeah.
be
that
good.
would that would be.
Well, they,
I mean,
they
that
had the
itself
blinders
is a
on.
trip up
Well, it messed,
psychological
barn.
thing.
it messed with the characters in the movie too, because the vape guy was like, "It can't be 9 o'clock. The sun's still up."
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was tripping. He was tripping off the shrooms as well.
Yeah, they was doing more than vaping, I'll tell you that much. I think the next scene we need to get into is when they take the old couple up on the cliff. Now,
That was cool.
there's where it goes
Very
back to Bryson. That's cool.
Well,
See, at that point, after I see that, I'm out.
First
Like,
off,
I don't
look,
care. You're
I'm
gonna
out
have
before
to run
that,
me
but
over
I'm
with-
definitely gone then, you know.
Yeah. So if my guard was down enough, and it wouldn't be because red flags are shooting up all over the place, but if my guard
Yeah.
was down enough to get to the old people on the cliff, okay,
Yeah.
after that happens, they're going to have to shoot me because I'm taking the keys to somebody's car and I'm out.
Or I'm going to
I'm
walk
out.
out. Either way, I'm leaving. you know.
They're going to have to run me
Yep.
down and run me over because I'm
Well,
out
remember-
after I see that.
Remember, 2 people did leave. The British people, they tried to leave,
Well, they
and
they were going to.
and then the one friend, he was already doing the thesis. The boyfriend, he was like fascinated by it, and he wanted to do the thesis also. Kind of stole the idea. Dani, she was starting to finally feel kind of like it's supposed to be that she's starting to feel at home finally. So she's disturbed by it, but that's one of the reasons why it shows the sunshine, the sunlight all the time, because she's being happy, whereas when she was back home, she didn't feel happy.
But
So the only
seeing
other,
old people jump off a cliff is not going to make me happy. I
Yeah,
tell you
that's
that.
what it makes
especially
her
when the old guy doesn't exactly fall correctly and he survives.
Well, that
Yeah.
was
the-
my
the
other
fall.
question.
Dude, you never
is,
jump feet first if you're trying to kill
Yeah.
yourself, man. You always got to
Was-
go head first.
Was that intentional?
I don't think
did
so.
Did he show some kind of hesitation, which made him unworthy to die in the proper way?
I don't know.
So
maybe
the
the
first
wind
lady
caught him
just
wrong
fell.
or
The
something,
first lady, of course, she just fell forward and belly
She
flopped
face
almost,
planted.
right?
Yeah, she
And
face planted.
I think he. I
And
mean, you
she
can
hit
see
the
him.
rock.
He just walked.
She
he just
planted her
walked
face.
off.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
But
just
she
walks
hit
off.
she hit the bullseye. She hit the rock that was coming up. That old man, when he jumped off feet first, he missed the rock and everything. And so, is there some kind of symbolism in that said, the old man got scared, he was fearful, that made him unworthy to die in the proper way, so then they took the hammer to the head. Was there some kind of symbolism there that I missed, or did the guy just decide, hey,
I
I'm going
think they
feet
set
first?
that scene up. I think they done that just to show you the brutality of what
the
happened to him
yeah.
when he didn't die. Because they all stepped up and took turns beating him to death.
And then
Now,
they
Bronson
beat
may
him
know-
after he was dead.
Yeah,
it
they
was
still
almost
kept
like
going.
they had some kind of order they had to follow for hitting him, and I probably would have
So,
reacted just like Simon and Connie did. Honestly, like Simon, the British guy, was just losing his mind.
I'll tell you
Yeah,
how I
I'm
would have
just
reacted.
shocking.
I would have looked over at Christian, if I'm Dani, and I said, look here, you're gonna act like we're cool with this, okay? But the moment we get it, we're gonna dip out of here because we ain't cool with it. But we gotta pretend like we're like, yeah, man, I'm glad they done it.
Do you
And
I'm
guys?
down with this. But then we're
And
gonna be down the road.
sticking,
You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
sticking with everybody. They ain't nobody splitting up from the group at that point, because that's the point where people gonna start disappearing.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, nah, man, no, we're going by the buddy system here, and I ain't gonna go pee on nobody's tree either. I'm gonna go to the
Especially
facility.
one that's been fertilized by the ashes of their
Yeah.
ancestors.
Like, I'm gonna go to the facility and I'm gonna use the bathroom. But whenever they burnt the old people
You say
on
you're
the
going to go to the facilities?
on the grill, yeah.
Add that to another
God,
thing that
here
Dad
we
says
go.
that he never says
Yeah.
in real life. I'm
Anyway.
gonna go to the facilities.
Anyway,
Who just said the facility with the grill?
Daniel.
Well, look, that's my look. If I had to go pee real bad,
yeah,
right,
man.
and I'm just minding my business, and I'm going to
That's
go
right.
pee, and some dude's going to be, dude, you can't pee on the ancestry tree, and I'm like, I'm just trying to pee, man.
I'm just trying to go behind this tree and pee,
Yeah,
dude.
no, you're
It's,
know, I
I
ain't
mean,
trying to
that's the
disrespect
pleasure
nobody.
of being a man. You can just do it anywhere.
But why did he pick there? Because there was an entire forest where he could have gone into
Yeah, I know.
Because
the tree.
this
And
guy
that tree
was an
wasn't big
idiot.
enough to block anything either. You know
This
what I'm
guy
saying?
was an idiot. He was a
Yeah.
butthole from the beginning of the movie, and you know that he wasn't going to make it.
Yeah,
and,
he
and he just
already-
did stupid
He
things.
watched them sweep the ashes or shovel the ashes into the tree before he even took the pee.
Well, and so that's what I was going to say. That's some BS too, because that little campfire that they burnt them old people on,
Yeah.
you need to put them in an incinerator. That ain't going to turn nothing to ash when you're trying to burn a dead body. So
Who
that's a
said
plot
the
hole.
grill?
Well,
right
now,
there.
how do you know, Daniel? Let's talk about this for a minute.
I said, come on, man. Not like what do you
It was
think
with
when
that
people-
smoker.
when
When
people
did you
was
get
a
your
smoker.
cremation
It was.
license?
Oh, I think Bronson was gonna say
when
because they're
people
all-
get cremated, they ain't setting freaking campfire outside. They're taking
And
them
after
to a
Bronson
crematorium.
says what he
You
gotta
gotta be
say, I have
12,000
something to say as well.
degrees.
Hey, the Vikings
Like-
done it all the time.
Send him out in the lake.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
So,
Anyway,
regardless, we all know now that Daniel is a
Facilities.
cremation master as well as a shark
facilities.
master.
Well, before
And
we
he
get
uses
and the
facilities.
facilities.
before
and
we get
he-
back to the scene, I have one
He
last
has
thing
an
to say.
invalid uncle, By the way, I'm going to tell Miss McMahon about your invalid uncle when we interview her in a few weeks.
You definitely have to mention that. One last thing about the cliff scene. When he falls and when the old man falls and he breaks his legs, the group, as he starts screaming, the group starts screaming with him. And
Yeah,
so
it's like they're
that,
all feeling it. Yeah.
yes, so they're,
Well,
that's
there's a
their
lot of
way.
group screaming that starts happening.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, what's up with that?
it
With the
is.
group screaming?
I
I
know
think they're
you're
all
just
trying to
itching.
live as one
You're
body,
itching to
man. Like
get to it. I
one.
know you
Like
are.
for everything, it's not even for that scene. It's like anytime that
Oh,
anybody started making
you're,
noises or whatever,
They
every
that
freaking
had a
body
lot to
did.
do with their breathing
because they
too.
are
Did you
trying
guys notice that?
with the
Even
what?
when
Yeah.
she was tripping, the flowers on her thing was breathing with her.
Yeah.
All this
Oh,
stuff, man,
'cause
you got to
they were
watch it
all
again to
drugged
notice
up.
that stuff.
Yeah,
well, the
you,
reason why, from what I heard, the reason why they're screaming with her is because they're trying to show that the group has its own way of empathy to try to empathize with others, but it's like a fake empathy, and you see that
yeah,
at the
because it's a
end.
hammer to the face, is what it
You
is.
see that at the
That's their
end with
empathy.
the yellow shack when they tell the guy, "Oh, take this, and you're not going to feel a thing." And then obviously he feels everything because he starts screaming as soon as the
Yeah,
flame hits him, and the group
that's
starts
right.
screaming. So it's that the group has a way of showing empathy, but it's not real. It's its own type of thing. The professor.
What you got, Professor?
So I think that culturally they all are one. That's because they go into the reincarnation aspect. That whenever somebody dies at the age of 72 and somebody's pregnant, that person inherits that person's name. So they are, as a group, they believe in being fully interconnected. So whether you die or not, if you die, you're going to be reborn back into this family and this cycle of the seasons. So I think whenever someone is experiencing pain, pleasure, grief, whatever,
I
it
saw
is a
that not
group.
along when you said pleasure. Go ahead.
It's a
It's
pagan
it's
aspect.
it's a group aspect. It's not you feeling this by yourself.
Everybody, as
Everybody
your
feels it
commune
with
or
you.
family feels it
Everybody
with
starts feeling it. That's
And
for
it-
But
sure.
with the guy jumping off the cliff, I don't think that he purposefully missed, and I don't think that there was a like a negative connotation with them
Yeah, I don't think
continuing
he purposely missed.
to hit him with that hammer,
I
even
think
though
the
he was
wind
already
caught
dead. I think what it is each one of his
You can't give your life for another if you're not
Yeah,
fully dead.
each one of,
Even if you complete that life cycle yourself and give yourself up to the gods or the new future, you cannot do that if you give your life and unsucceed. You have to succeed. So
But-
that's why you have your backup people
the
to.
reason that they kept giving the hammer to the next person is because each one of his relatives had to participate in sending him into that next life.
It was probably an honor
because
for
he's-
him to do that. Yeah.
Yes, it's not necessarily a sadistic, I don't think that they wanted to take, pleasure in hitting their grandpa in the head with a hammer. I think that they were helping him then transition in
Transition.
more of a everybody's a part of it because we're all connected, we're all a part of everything. That's why we're here for you when you jump. That's why we're here for you if you miss. We're going to still help you cross over. We're
they
all
were-
going to weep. We are all going to yell. We are all going to feel that pain because we have all been reincarnated for generations. We've been a family for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. So you are going to feel pain. I'm going to feel pain. Like that's just how that goes.
Well,
Well-
they definitely were thorough in sending that guy off. I'll tell you
That
that.
brother
Yes,
got a
they
first
were.
class ticket. You know what I'm saying?
Shoot,
But I'll say
yeah.
this about the old man. He was kind of a skinny fella. You know what I'm saying? I think the man jumped off and the wind caught him and kind of messed his trajectory up myself. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
I think that guy needed a lesson from Sir Isaac Newton
That was a
on
super
physics.
cool scene, though. Because
It was.
just
So, guys, we
yeah.
have we're basically through the middle of the movie about right now because we've covered a lot. There's another scene we're going to cover after trivia. I
we know
think
that's an itching for this scene.
let's take a little intermission and let's get into our trivia tonight. And when trivia is over, we're going to break down this next disturbing scene that I want to talk about tonight. So, Daniel, let's see who, we got a good crowd tonight. Let's see who can win this trivia over Midsommar here.
So, whenever everybody's ready, we'll just take off with this thing.
Spit these things out, son. Let's go.
Question number 1, and we've already kind of discussed this a little bit. How were the paintings in Dani's apartment significant?
Audrey,
Audrey, go.
I know one of them was the bear in the bear cage. So it foreshadowed, what's his name? Christian being
So what? Yes,
in it.
I'll give you the point because I was going with foreshadowing events to come. So we got one for Audrey.
Ding, ding, ding. Hold on, I didn't have my
Cage,
music ready.
you got the Excel? Oh,
Yeah,
there
I
we
got
go.
it pulled up.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Number 2, Audrey strikes first blood tonight. Number 2, here we go. How many times did Dani see her sister after her sister killed herself?
Corky.
Cade.
Corky, what do you got?
4 times.
4.
Okay, so I've got anybody else?
Bryson,
Bryson,
2.
okay, and what I've got is 2. I counted 2, but now I may be wrong.
I think it's 2.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure
I
it's
just
2.
guessed.
so Bryson with 2, saw her in the outhouse mirror, and she also walked by her in the crowd after she became the May Queen. That was 2 times that I saw her.
Okay, then that's wrong because there is another scene where she in the back corner. It's toward the end of the movie when she just run off from Christian when he was, doing his thing in that yellow temple, whatever it was.
Oh, you talking about when it was the rock
In the
formation?
tree.
I ain't counting the rock formation.
No,
I ain't
they
counting.
actually hid her face up in a tree in the corner.
Yeah.
You have to really look for it.
So
And the only reason I know that is because I heard it on a podcast today when I was doing research.
Well, I missed that one.
Yeah,
So
but
there's
you
still
probably
2.
wouldn't have.
because the one when she was just became the Maid Queen and she was in the crowd, that was her mom that she saw, not her sister.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well,
Because she
There
was
we
like,
go.
Mom?
So he's still right.
And then she kept like getting, shuffled off.
all right then. The
Well,
answer
what was the
is
other time?
officially.
Yep.
I
Well, the
don't know,
answer's 2,
but I
regardless.
won.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I
You
guess
got
they're
it, yeah.
counting. I guess they're counting when it was
she
in the
sings her
tree.
sister?
Bryson,
Yeah.
Bryson gets a point with 2.
Okay.
We're gonna move on. Number 3. All right, everybody ready? How did Danny's sister die?
Cade.
Bryson.
Brent, I heard Brent first.
No
It was
way.
suicide. It was carbon monoxide poisoning.
Carbon monoxide poisoning is correct.
And I have a little tidbit about that because I was thinking, when she duct taped the hose under her parents' door, and I'm like, there's no way she could have done that, and that actually would have worked. But assuming she got the hose under the door and got it taped up, death can occur from that type of scenario within 5 minutes. So they would have never known anything was coming. So
Mhm.
now you know, and knowing
Wow.
is half the battle.
G.I. Joe, baby.
Yeah, baby.
All right. Number 4.
Hey, I got a quick
Okay.
fun fact for you.
Give us the fun fact, Bryson.
I used to do a security job and I sat in my car for 13 hours a night by myself. Summer, spring, fall, winter. It'd be snowing and I'd just be sitting in my car. I had no building to go into. I was just at a construction site. And my dad would call me periodically throughout the week and say, "Hey, are you still alive?" Because he knew I'd be sitting in my car with it running in the middle of the winter, and he'd make sure I didn't suffocate in the middle of the night.
Oh, man.
That,
Well,
that's-
that stuff will
that
kill you
was-
without you even know because it's
Yeah.
odorless. You can't
Yeah.
smell it.
Right?
You just
Yeah.
die. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
that's just how it goes down.
Dangerous.
All right. Well, question number 4. Now, this is a Daniel question. All right. Everybody loves the Daniel questions. Question
Good
number
one.
4. What brand of shoes was Josh wearing when he
Bryson.
went to bed?
Okay.
What? Are you
Bryson,
kidding
go.
me?
I got Bryson.
New Balance.
Boom, baby. Get it. Get it.
Get out of here, man. I
Give
ain't
him
even
the
going to
point.
put no.
Give him
I
the
knew,
point.
I knew
Right
that
now,
one
my
too,
man.
man. I was ready for
Give
that
it.
one.
Give
I
it. Give
wrote down the medicine
Do
that
it.
he took.
I
I
want it.
put down the license plate number. I put down the type
No,
of car
he's
they
going to
were
come up with something
Now, you-
crazy.
You would give the license plate number.
What was the license plate of the tapestry?
I wasn't looking at, I was looking at New Balance, man. That's
How
what I
many
was looking
threads
at.
made up the tapestry?
All right, here we go. Now, Question number, I think 1, 2, 3, 4.
We're on
Question number
5.
5. Who jumped off the cliff first?
Brent.
Corky.
Bryson.
I heard Brent first.
God, right on your slow internet. I so said that first.
Brent come through first, man.
It was the old lady.
The old lady did. She jumped up. She jumped first. That's a point for Brent. All right. Question number 6. What is significant about the man who jumped off the cliff?
Bryson.
Bryson, go.
Well, I know he missed.
He's got bad aim.
He did.
Okay.
Bryson with the point. He didn't.
That was my answer.
and he's got bad luck. Let's put it this way.
What is that?
What's the
Did you even know the answer to that question?
Who got their legs devastated in the fall?
Everybody mad at me now. Okay. Does anybody have a better answer than Bryson? Bryson
I was
said
just
he missed.
I was just gonna say that he had reached the 72 years of age,
72.
and it was time for him
Yeah.
to go.
Okay, the answer that I had was that he did not die on impact, and he got the hammer to the face, and
Here we
that
go.
was what was
Good
significant.
job, Bryson, Professor.
Bryson
Dang it,
with the
man.
point. I'm gonna give Bryson the point. All
All
right,
right, then.
next question. What was the oldest age that you could be?
Okay.
Bryson.
God, everybody come through at the same time.
Brent.
Literally.
Okay.
Bryson.
Brent.
We're gonna have to throw the question out now because everybody
We
literally come
We
through.
gotta rock, paper, scissors it.
Let's do it.
All right, everybody, rock, paper, scissors.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh,
Who won?
Bryson
Did
did.
Bryson get it? All right, Bryson, what is it?
72.
72. Bryson on point tonight. I don't think that Bryson can be beat at this point, but this is the
Can't be
last
beat.
question. Last question. What time was it when they took the
God,
mushrooms in the field?
Bryson.
Okay.
I heard Bryson first. Bryson is on it, man.
So what time, like, when she woke up or when they started taking
Hold on, man. You got to answer the question. You can't say Bryson and then
No.
start
I gotta
throwing
make
out
sure.
stipulations.
I gotta make sure.
Yeah, you're already ahead
you
by
got
a
an
million
answer.
points.
Give an answer.
Because it was 9 a.m. No, 9 p.m. When old dude was like, but the sky's still blue.
Yeah, 9 p.m.
Y'all gonna have to fight amongst each other because you said 9 a.m. first.
Nah,
And if I got to be a stickler about it,
Bryson gets it.
all right,
He was a stickler.
we'll give Bryson
Hey,
the
we-
point on that.
He
don't
was going to
all
win
have-
anyhow.
We don't all
9
use the
p.m.
facilities for the bathroom like you, okay? So
Facilities. That is the word for
Facilities.
tonight. Facilities.
Well, look, here's what I'm going to give this little section of trivia right here.
Yeah, Corky,
They
we
wasn't-
didn't
they
get a
wasn't-
chance to answer a question.
I
There
know it,
wasn't
man.
nothing wrong. There wasn't
Let me
nothing wrong
recap-
with this
let me
trivia.
recap this trivia. Here's Dad. I got the hardest trivia I've ever came up with today. What crazy thing happened to the old man?
Man, like
Well,
when
there's
I
questions.
get when
It's
I
like,
get
what was
super
significant
deep with
about the old
questions,
man?
when I
I
get
said
super
you
deep
missed
with
it.
questions,
No, I got the point.
everybody making fun of me
Wrong.
because they're
You-
too hard and they're too abstract. I ask something simple like, "What is the significance of the man jumping off the cliff?" And everybody still makes fun of me. They're like,
I'm gonna get us all to use Kahoot so we can do
Yeah, we need
a
to
questions on
use
our
Kahoot.
phone.
what? Yeah,
Good.
we gotta do something better than when we have a panel this big. I got 5 people that's
So-
ringing in on me.
So, hey, since I got
That's
this
hard.
extra day off, I'll look into getting it set up for us. It shouldn't
I
be too
got
hard.
Corky
Yeah.
over there saying that I'm cheating.
I didn't
The
say you was
internet's
cheating.
slow or
I was just
something?
ragging on your
I
anyhow.
got good internet now. I'm
Regardless.
on fire.
And then
Okay, ain't no
if
lag.
everybody ties after
Speaking
the
of
Kahoot,
on
then there'll be like
fire,
a bonus question or something.
Let's
On
get
fire.
there's another scene here toward the end that I want to talk about. So they
Well,
they
there's
There's
what do
still
you
a
wanna
lot of
talk
death.
about?
there's a couple of things that happen before this scene that you're going to bring up.
well,
I think maybe.
well, I know there's the Midsommar dance, but like
Well, so there's two.
I mean,
there's two things. There's two.
it all's lackluster compared
Well,
to what we're about to talk
if we
about here.
people
There's-
at this
There's
point,
4.
There's a lot of death
what I was
left.
saying is at this point people are starting to disappear and people are starting to get weirded out and they're starting to ask questions. But the one guy, I can't remember what his name was, the guy that's writing the thesis.
Mark.
Okay.
Sorry,
Josh.
Josh. Sorry,
Josh. Okay, so
Yeah.
so Mark's see he done peed on a tree and he's gone, right?
Yeah.
And so now Josh, he's writing the thesis, and they tell him, no pictures, and I'm just going to tell you what's in this book. And then what does he do? He waits till everybody goes to sleep, and then he puts on his little New Balance, and he walks over to the barn that the book was kept in, and then he gets himself killed.
He does a stupid thing.
That's right.
Well,
So you've got
they each
stupid
did
people that do
something
stupid things,
Yeah.
and he paid the price for it.
Don't taunt somebody's religion and or culture.
Yeah, he found out, and I want to say before he met his demise, Connie and Simon actually were some of the first
Yes.
people to get taken, because out of nowhere, Connie and Simon are trying to leave, but apparently Simon left with this guy in a truck because there was only one extra seat, and it was completely unbelievable, the story that was being told to them, and at that point you knew that he was murdered. And that kind of opens up everyone to thinking, like, what's going on. And I believe Dani actually is legitimately questioning it, and everyone else is kind of like, oh, like maybe he just did it. And then even Dani makes a comment about Christian where she was like, I think you would do something like that, like you'd leave me like in a place.
Well,
so
back to Christian on that aspect, he has already been approved for like this ritual, this mating ritual. This, I get, whoever it was said that he had been approved to mate with somebody.
Maya, the 15-year-old redhead.
So he was approved for the mating, but before that, he had the love potion.
That's
love
the other thing that I
under
was
his
going to say.
bed.
That was foreshadowed at the beginning of the movie. On the tapestry, you see some haircutting going on. You see a haircut.
Trimming in pews, baby. You know what I'm saying?
And through this haircut, it's going to get put into some kind of pot pie that's going to get baked or whatever.
Meat pie.
And as soon as they put these pot pies out, these meat pies or whatever, dude finds a hair. And so as a viewer, you know, okay, yeah, he's been targeted for, he's going to go into the love shack, basically.
And his cup. Don't forget his drink.
Oh yeah. See, and if somebody's going to pour water and then some flower petals and just mash that crap up and say, "Oh, here, drink this." No, thank you.
Well, I believe it had her period blood in it too.
Yeah,
it did. That was
part of
that was part of
you
the
could
ritual.
look. His drink was darker than everybody else's, and I would have been like,
Uh-huh.
"Hold on, man,
Yes,
flag
that
on the
was the
play
other
here.
thing.
Why does my drink look different than everybody else's?"
That's right.
And I got pubic hair in my pot pie, man. There's
This thing
wrong
tastes
here.
kind of weird.
I'm not going to no
And I
cult
wake up and there's a
drinking.
rune under my bed. What's going on? What are y'all
I'm not
setting
going
me
to no
up for?
cult, sleeping,
A
with the
t-shirt
rune,
that says,
eating
I
no
got a
pot
pubic
pie.
hair. What did you just say?
The only thing I know
Hey,
is that Daniel would have seen this from a mile away, guys.
I've
Donna
seen it a mile
said-
away.
Donna said we got to have a T-shirt that says "I found a pubic hair in my pot pie."
Yeah, that's great.
That'll be
I
another
went to
award
this-
we give
I
out
went
at the
to
end of
this
the year.
cult, and the only thing that I've got to show for it is a pubic hair. in
Was
my
it
pot.
was this dang pubic hair?
That's so good.
Dang it, man.
All right, Corky, we're up to your scene
That's
now,
awesome.
and
Okay.
Cade's butt meter's about to go
It's-
off the
it's through the
charts.
roof.
So,
man.
Cade,
Charts.
first off, the scene we're about to talk about is definitely werewolf nipple surfing.
Oh, it is. It is 100%. There's a lot going on when this is happening. Like right before this scene takes place is when Dani becomes the May Queen. She wins the competition.
Yeah.
Where they're
Yeah.
basically
Good for her.
they're basically doing this big
Good idea.
dance off. She wins, she gets crowned it, and at the same time, Christian is being called upon to go and participate in this ritual. And he, at this point, is very much drugged up to the point to where that old man clapped in his face, and it pretty much like knocked him out of reality.
He
And
said,
so-
"Why would you do that?"
Dude, exactly. I laughed so hard. He was so scared. But do you want me to break this scene down? Do you want me to break?
Yes. You
Oh,
need to
yeah,
break the
Kate,
scene
you
down.
Break that
have
thing
to
down,
break this
Kate.
scene
We've
down.
waited
Okay.
this whole time for this breakdown. Yes,
This
you are.
scene
to
is
break it
why I
down.
wanted to do this show because I knew I'd have you break this scene down. So
This is like my
spit this
second
knowledge
time
to
watching
us.
this movie, and it still shocked me enough to where I was like, wow. But essentially, part of the ritual is Christian here is destined to mate with, I believe her name is is it Ignis or Igna?
It's Maya.
It's
Maya.
Maya. It was some Swedish name. But
Ignis.
essentially, he
Down with the Ignis.
That's her
He
invalid
He
sister,
got
man.
down with the Ignis is what he did.
So our illustrious Swedish girl is presenting herself to Christian in this room, and they proceed to have coitus, as Sheldon Cooper would say on The Big Bang Theory. But
This is the
what's
1920s.
what's strange about this scene is you have a mixture of middle-aged and older and younger women just nude around them as they are having coitus, and much like what we've seen
And by
with the
coitus, he
emotions
means
being
sex.
felt
That's what he's talking
by
about.
by everyone in the movie. The old women begin to feel the emotions that Maya
Hey,
is
I was
going
waiting
through.
on R. Kelly to come out the back and start singing, man. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
there was
I've
no
been trapped in a closet.
there was no oil in the scene either, so yeah, nothing like that. But it gets to the point where I guess he's kind of starting to trip balls a little bit, and his head's not in the game, and so these old women are like, "Listen, chump, we got to get this show on the road." So
Oh, dude, need to lock
Just
in.
like
they
level
go
up
and
from soaking. Isn't
Yep.
that what they used to call it? Level up from soaking.
yeah, they go give him some love taps, I guess you could call it, and
Well, look, man,
helped
everybody
him.
needs help. You know what I'm saying?
She
You
helped
can't get
him
on
out.
him like that.
and he proceeds to do the deed, and then I believe after it's over, he starts running around butt naked and is very afraid. And this actually leads to a super crazy looking scene where he finds Simon in this shack, and he is like strung up with his lungs outside of
Yeah,
his
boy.
body,
Got that vacuum butterfly effect.
because Christian is drugged up, it looks like the lungs are breathing, but there's no way the
No,
dude's
I think-
completely
I
dead.
think that they were
So they
breathing.
are.
Well,
No,
were they
were
breathing?
Yeah,
They
I
are.
wanted to ask y'all about
There-
this.
There is an old torture ritual.
It's something evil.
Something eagle. But what they would do is they would cut your back open, and they would pull your lungs through your back, and they would pin them, and you would still be alive, and the lungs would keep inflating, and you would just lay there until you died.
Yeah.
Dude,
That's
That was
okay,
shocking, man.
that is disturbing, and that's just a
Wow.
It's called a
testament.
blood eagle.
That's
Blood
just a
eagle,
testament
yeah.
to
Your
the
ribs.
director.
Yeah,
Blood
they would
eagle.
break the
You-
ribs and
you-
pull the lungs through
Yes.
your
Break
back.
your victim's back, breaking the ribs, pulling out the lungs, resembling wings. It
That's
is
what
in a
the-
Norse pagan aspect, is where that used to be represented in torture, is the Norse pagans. So
Yeah, they didn't get down to that in
Terrible.
Inglewood, Tennessee. So
That's what
I've
they
never
used to do
experienced
on the
that.
playground at Inglewood when me and Corky was when me and Corky went to Inglewood School. That's what they used to do for fun.
Yeah, you better not lose at wall ball. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Yeah,
right.
And shortly after Christian finds Simon alive, apparently, God did not know that that he was still alive. I thought that was a drug thing. He gets knocked out by this mysterious powder, and then the final act kind of starts from there with the final ritual, I guess you could call it.
And weren't they wearing old dude's face who peed on the
Mhm.
tree?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Will
they were
Poulter's
wearing
face
his face,
was being worn by
I
some.
think he was wearing an
body.
entire body suit of him because he originally he thought that what was that guy's name that peed on
Mark.
the ancestors?
Mark.
He thought
Yeah.
Mark was in the room with him, but it
Yeah.
turned out it was dude was wearing
Well,
his skin.
And then
Yeah.
after he got his head chopped with the shovel, the one that was taking pictures of that book, they ended up burying him out beside that little barn. That was his leg
Yeah,
that was
his leg
sticking
was
up.
Yeah.
sticking out of the garden.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
at one point, Pele,
Was it a New
they were
Balance
like,
sticking
"Hey, what are you
out?"
doing, Pele?"
Yeah, they
He said, "Oh,
stole
I'm
his
just-
New Balance.
I'm just working on the garden.
Yeah. Well, hey, they was gonna use him as fertilizer, I guess. But
Do you guys have any knowledge as to like this? Because Midsommar is a real thing in Sweden. Like,
Yeah,
I know that
it
it
is.
actually exists.
Yeah,
So
It's a
you, so,
pagan ritualistic
I'm not
celebration.
going.
it's the
so
beginning.
you
It doesn't go.
Beginning of the year.
Yeah,
were the
you're recreating, refurbishing your earth, your pack, your community,
It's about replenishing.
a rebirth, a resurgence of new family,
Gotcha.
new friends, new members, new opportunities. But it is celebrated every year technically.
Yeah.
But there are certain like ritualistic aspects of certain, depending on what paganistic but
Group.
paganistic group that you are in, there are different rules. Some retain to black magic, some retain to sacrificial. It really just depends. But with Midsommar, it is a legit rebirth of
It's a
a
rebirth
person,
ceremony.
of a world, of a community, whether it be within so many people or within one person yourself. You're rebirthing yourself from all the terror and horror that you have endured. And that shows how
Paganism has a lot to do with the seasons. And
it shows how you
changes of the
overcome a season no matter what you've been through.
Because everything is on a yearly cycle. And if humans are a part of the earth, and if everything on the earth is part of a yearly cycle, why would we not be a part of that yearly cycle? So it goes into each season is a part of your life and a part of that year that you are going to experience.
You're going to experience every season,
and then
whether it be your spring of rebirth, your fall of your older self transitioning into dying, hibernation, to go into winter and rebirth yourself for spring and summer.
It's a pattern of cycle, and it's a pattern of change, and how we can all change each year. It's actually a pretty cool thing when you really think about it and not look at it in a A24 horror movie.
It's actually a beautiful
it's actually
ritual.
a really cool thing.
You give your life in your soul and your community's life and their souls in different aspects, whether it be death or rebirth in a different way. And
I wonder how they
be
felt about the
beautiful.
film. The people that still follow this.
What season is it to where an old woman grabs my butt cheeks and helps me along? Because
that
I don't
will
want
be your
that
spring.
season.
It's now your time, Daniel.
I'm skipping. I got
season of the
allergies.
witch right there.
I'm skipping spring.
Spring
I got allergies.
Forward.
I got allergies. I'm all
All
right.
right.
He said, "I got allergies." Take a Zyrtec.
Yeah, take us.
All right, our boy Christian wakes up inside of a bear. They have, killed the bear that we seen earlier in the movie, and he wakes up inside of a bear. And it comes to find out they need some reason they need 9 sacrifices. Right? Is that the right number? And
Yeah, I believe
they
it was
basically
9, yeah.
I forget who all they've got in there, but they've got everybody that's died is in there, and they basically set the little yellow temple on fire, and they burn that sucker to the ground. And you've got 2 people from the community that volunteered to go in there, and
Yeah,
they
one
were
of them
told a
was
bunch
the
of lies,
brother
like
of,
it wasn't going to hurt them, and they
Hell.
wasn't going to have any fear. And the first thing you hear is dude start screaming. So obviously he's feeling pain, and that was so he got lied to. And our boy Christian, they open his eyes and he can't move, he can't speak, he can't do anything. They actually had to open his eyes back up for him, and you could see the fear in his eyes because he knows he's about to go out in a blaze of glory. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was a very symbolic ending.
go ahead. Yeah, Dani is
sorry,
actually they asked her, who she wanted to go in there, and actually she picked old Christian in there.
She's crying at first, and then she smiles. She ends up smiling. That's the last frame. So that's supposed to symbolize she now fits in with this cult. So,
That's her new family. That's how I took it.
The smile was supposed to symbolize the sun at the on the little mural at the beginning of the film.
That means she's not making it to 72.
Yeah,
No, she's not making it past 72 anyway.
Yeah, and she also ain't going back to America because I reckon this whole thing is That's why because I still believe old Pele picked her because she lost her entire family. And there's even a theory that Pele may have killed her family.
That is what I was about to ask, because that's what me and Bree was talking about last night when we was watching it. It's like, okay, did this old dude, was he really the one that set all this up and kill her family to get her to go with him?
That would be an insane.
Basically, she found her new family. So
Yes.
Speaking of
I think that's what
families,
that
Yeah,
was.
she was.
do you think
ahead. Go ahead,
Pele's family, or he kept saying his parents died in a fire. His
Go ahead,
parents
Audrey.
died in a fire. So do you think they jumped off the cliff and were burned?
Well,
Well, he
hey,
does say, he says that his family died. I think he said a fire or something.
yeah,
So
Mhm.
there
wow.
are people that think that his family, or like his mom and dad, were two volunteers at some
Yeah.
point, because it
That's
says
a
that
good
his
question.
community came and raised him. So
I never
that
thought
would make
about that.
sense.
Yeah.
And
I
there
bet that's
there
what
is one
happened.
point in the movie, it kind of skips over it really quickly, but they were talking about the children that were in the community, and they were talking about one of the children, and they said, "Oh, his mother's not here. She's out on sabbatical or pilgrimage
Mhm.
to distance herself emotionally from the child." And for the child to be raised by the community without their mother, it's an important thing. So that shows, even if Pele's parents were to have volunteered, you would be like, well, why would they volunteer if they have a kid? Like, why would they have left the kid behind? Be- because in their culture, they do naturally, they normally.
Well, one quick thing before we wrap it up, because you mentioned this, and I just want to say quickly, why do you think they lied to the volunteers who sacrificed themselves? Why do you think they lied about, hey, you're not going to feel anything?
Because they wouldn't have done it if they thought it was going to hurt, probably,
Yeah, that's what I would get it like, because I would think, hey, they would not lie about this because their faith is so strong. They believe that, hey, I'm sacrificing myself for my community. But so I think that would be enough to get them along without the, hey, you're not going to feel any pain. So I was just wondering if there was if anyone thought there was a kind of like a fake empathy
I think
thing going on.
it's
I was
more
saying.
of a, I'm going to give you comfort. Like, hey, this ain't going to hurt a bit. And then it hurts a lot. I think it's just like going back to old movies where they're about to pull somebody's tooth and they're like, hey, don't worry about it, man, and you ain't gonna feel a thing. And then they pull the tooth. It's like so I think it's just one of those, like, they know it's gonna hurt like hell, but it's part of it. It's like, hey, like, it's fine, like, it's not gonna hurt.
I think since they actually emphasized those guys screaming, I don't think they did, man. I think that they realized how much they screwed up when they started feeling that pain. So, and I told the other guy he wouldn't have any fear, and obviously he was scared to death. So I think they just, at the moment it happened, they realized, hey, this ain't what they told us. But at that point, it's too late to turn back now. But that's the movie, guys. We'll go ahead and jump in and get this thing rated. Audrey, I'll start with you. What did you give Midsommar?
I went back and forth on these, and honestly, I think if I would have rated it just watching it the one time, because I watched it twice this week, and I think if I would have rated it just after the first time, it would have been a lot lower. After researching it and seeing all the symbolism and seeing all the background stuff and watching it the second time, I enjoyed it a lot more. So overall, I ended up giving it a 7.
7 out of 10. All right, Cade, what you got, buddy?
Yeah, I thought this movie was really, really good. Even after watching the second time, I loved it after the first watch. It's super artistic. It's very thought-provoking. I love these types of movies. I think the audience score, it's a little bit low for this one. I think it should be up there, the Rotten Tomatoes score. So for me, I'm actually going to give this movie an 8 out of 10.
They had a composer for this movie. They have actually a lot of music in it. But I'll get to it on my ranking.
Well, what you got, Brent?
Well, first of all, I love this movie. What I think is something to point out. We all say, I think the majority of people say, hey, why do movie companies keep remaking the same movie over and over and over again? And then when a company actually makes something new, those same people that say that are like, well, what the crap is this? This is I don't like this. So, so cultural significance, I gave a 6 because of hey, it was one of the first A24 movies that kind of starts this whole I wouldn't say it starts anything, but I think movies now kind of build on what Midsommar did. Special effects, I gave a 10. I think the special effects were great in this movie with the guy with his face off and the lungs out of his chest. Music, I gave an 8. I actually really do like the music in this movie, and I think that it adds to the plot as well. Symbolism is a 10, and enjoyment is a 10. So overall, that is an 8.8 or a 9. Round that up to a 9 out of 10.
All right.
What was your score, Brent? Sorry,
So
what was your score? I'm
Oh,
gonna
it
have
was
to
a
sound.
9 out of 10.
Okay, got it.
So for the music, the score of this movie, I give it a 10 out of 10. I love the music in this movie. It it is so cool and unsettling, and I write hip hop instrumental beats, and I looked at Donna. I'm like, maybe I should just give up writing instrumental beats and just work on a soundtrack for movies, because like
Hey, you should do that.
it was
Honestly,
just
you should
such
do that.
cool music, like it just
It
sounds
made
awesome.
it
The
unsettling.
scenes, I think, become so much heavier with that music that they chose. For cultural significance, I gave it a 7. I kind of split that between influences from old movies that are culturally significant, and then what it is going to influence in the future. So I gave that a 7. Special effects, I gave it an 8. The whole, faces smashed in, super cool scene. But honestly, the psychedelic special effects in this movie, I think were really cool, really interesting, and pretty realistic. So I gave that an 8. Symbolism, I gave it a 10. Overall enjoyment, an 8, which gives my score an 8.6. Round that up to a 9 out of 10.
Okay,
Strong.
Professor.
Yeah,
All right.
boy.
All right, Corky.
All right, for
It's up to
myself, I'm
you.
gonna give it a 7 out of 10. I find myself, since we done the movie Suspiria, that I like movies that emphasize colors and stuff like that. This was a great movie. Loved it. I'll watch it, from time to time. It's just a real good movie. It's twisted. It's dark. And I'm real into cults. I study cults a lot. But
Speaking of cold, go shop at Cult of Cult.
Yeah.
Right.
But
yeah, I give it a 7 out of 10, Cade. So what's that put it up to, buddy?
Yeah, that puts our average at an 8 for the Remember That podcast. 8 out of 10
All
for
right.
Midsommar.
I'll take that
Did-
score I'll take this one. That's good.
All
did
right.
Audrey get first score?
Yeah.
What'd you give it, Audrey?
7 out of 10.
Yeah, 7
Okay,
7
Cool.
out of 10. And that averages out to an 8 out of 10.
Yes, sir.
solid.
All right, guys. Well, there you have it. Midsommar gets a 8 out of 10 from the Remember That crew. For myself, Audrey, Cade, Daniel, Brent, and Bryson. Appreciate everybody listening to us. Get back with us next week as we get together and do it again. Until then, bye, everybody.
See ya.
See you. Bye.